Welcome dear students. This is our oral communication in context subject. This is your teacher, Shirley Bahia. Academic writing, its nature, purpose, and qualities. Academic writing is arguably the most important skill in academic context, since writing is the main method of academic communication. It is also the most difficult skill for most students to learn and master. So this session will teach us how to effectively write or prepare an academic writing. So academic writing is a formal genre of writing in which style and format is proper, thus reflecting its background in the academic community. Academic writing is any formal written work produced in any academic setting. It is also used for publications that are read by teachers, researchers, and other professionals or presented at conferences. Academic writing is writing which communicates ideas, information, and research to the wider academic community. It can be divided into two types: student academic writing, which is used as a form of assessment at university as well as at schools in preparation for tertiary education, and expert academic writing, which is writing that is intended for publication in an academic journal or book. Both types of academic writing are expected to adhere to the same standards, which can be difficult for students to learn and master. Sample academic writings: book reports, reaction or response paper, essays, research paper or academic journal, thesis or dissertation, position paper, concept or term paper, literary analysis, or criticism. Purpose of academic writing: students, professors, and researchers in every discipline use academic writing to convey ideas, make arguments, and engage in scholarly discussion. Qualities of an academic writing: most academic disciplines employ their own stylistic conventions. However, all academic writings share certain characteristics. Number one, it is clear and limited focus. The focus of an academic paper is always the research question and its arguments. It is always established by the thesis statement. Thesis statement usually is one sentence that summarizes the main point or claim of an essay, research paper, concept paper, etc. It is developed, supported, and explained in the text by means of examples and evidences. Number two, logical structure. All writings follows a logical structure in its simplest form. An academic writing has an introduction, body, which includes methods, materials, and conclusion or discussion. Academic writing should have a clear structure. Structure will often derive from the genre of writing. There is the introduction, which contains the background information, scope and direction, and the thesis statement. And then the body, which, which includes the support paragraphs, methods used, and materials used. And the last part is the conclusion, which summarizes the main points and refers back to the thesis statement. It discusses the findings and its implications. So, careful planning before writing is an essential to ensure that the final product will be well structured, with a clear focus and logical progression of ideas. So, number three, evidence-based argument. So, statements and arguments must be supported by evidence, whether from scholarly resources such as research studies, scientific journals, experiments, or quotation from primary texts, as in literary analysis. So, evidence gives credibility to a statement or argument. Number 4, impersonal tone. Convey a logical argument from an objective standpoint. Academic writings avoid emotional, inflammatory, or biased language, whether the writer agrees or disagrees with the findings. It must be presented accurately and objectively. Number 4, critical. Academic writing does more than just describe. As an academic writer, one should not simply accept everything they read as fact. You need to carefully analyze and evaluate the information before integrating it in your writing. This is known as critical writing. So, critical writing requires a great deal of research in order for the writer to develop a deep enough understanding of the topic to be truly critical about it. Number 5, formal. Finally, academic writing is more formal than everyday writing. It tends to use longer words and more complex sentences, while avoiding contractions and colloquial or informal words or expressions that might be common in spoken English. There are words and collocations which are used in academic writing more frequently than in non-academic writing. These are common mistakes to avoid in academic writing. Number 1, vague or missing thesis statement. So make sure that your thesis statement is written and clearly seen in your introduction. Next, we have the informal language. So, sa academic writing, it is more formal and objective than everyday English. So, this means using standard English spelling, punctuation, and grammar. But it also means avoiding informal English. For example, or you use contractions, uh, words which should be written out in full. No? Uh, I won't, and I can't should be written as will not and cannot. Okay? Informal words in place of technical language. Example, instead of respondent did a test, you say or you write carried out a test or performed a test. Number 3, bias language in academic writing. So it is important to use bias-free language. This includes gendered terms, generalization, and stereotypes. Key things to look out for include unnecessarily gendered terms. Instead of mankind, you use humanity. Gendered pronouns. Instead of using he throughout your paper for persons whose gender is unknown, use the more balanced he or she. Number 4, not citing sources or plagiarism. In academic writing, you must cite your sources. Failure to do so can lead to allegations of plagiarism. And to avoid plagiarism, you need to check your school style guide and make sure you use the correct referencing system throughout your work. Cite every source you use in your work. Do this for both direct quotes and any passage where you paraphrase another writer's ideas. Place all quoted text in quote marks and cite the source clearly. And then list all sources in a reference list or bibliography. Proper referencing will also demonstrate your academic writing skills, which can win you valuable extra marks on an essay. Number 5, failure to proofread. Typographical errors in your work will lose your marks, which could make the difference between a failing and a passing grade. But by having your writing professionally proofread, you can be sure if it is clear, concise, and error-free. This ends our session for oral communication in context. Goodbye, class. See you on our next session. Bye.